Come on in, guys. This is all new, remember. Remember to turn on the Instagram part to let people know. Almost forgot that. Okay. Hey. Happy Wind Down Wednesday. Happy Wind Down Wednesday, everyone. How are you doing on this amazing evening? I am Sonia Weaver, and I am the host of Get to Know Bob, where we have this amazing platform where we bring on amazing Black-owned business owners, founders of nonprofits, musicians. Hi, I see people joining in on Instagram. Thank you for joining. We're switching over to our YouTube channel. So please don't go away. Just come right over to YouTube. Just go to Deals with Bob, and we love to see you here. As I was saying, we have this platform that we give to some amazing Black business owners, to founders of nonprofits, to CEOs, authors, musicians. We've been blessed to have some phenomenal people on in almost 2 years. Can you get excited? It's almost 2 years, and I am so beyond excited. Now, I will tell you, today is the first day of a much needed vacation. Vacay. I needed it, right? And I am so glad that it's on a Wednesday, and now it's a Wednesday evening where I can spend my first evening of vacay with you. And it feels really good. I actually feel like I have a little bit more energy than normal. I am truly excited to be here. I am excited about today's guest. I'm excited about the topics and the conversation. As you know, this is a previous former guest, so we're going to do some catch up. But before we get into that, I came in here and forgot completely to grab the colors. So I always tell you guys my colors tonight. Decided to go fall. Can you tell this is, I think it's called Harvest. So I'm going from memory if I'm not right, but I can't remember the pout, but they're both by the Glam Doctor. And yeah, they reminded me of fall. It feels like fall in Michigan. That's code name for it. It's cold, okay? It is not as cold as it gets in Michigan, but fall gets cold to me. And if you get mature, I don't know. Have you heard of your bones getting cold? I mean, that's something my grandmother used to say. I can't believe I'm starting to actually like equate and understand what that meant. Really? We're not gonna have that conversation. But I will say, guys, that I'm loving this color. Okay. I want you guys to know that learning this platform. So I'm gonna see if I got this right. So today's show is being sponsored by some amazing businesses that are our newly listed businesses. We love and appreciate you. So we're gonna kick it off with Mona Lisa's Lyrics. For our consumer members, she's offering 15% off membership fee. Now Mona has this amazing platform, and guess what, guys? Just from joining her platform recently, I'm already international. Can you say what? Yes, hitting other businesses that are in different countries. That is so awesome. And she is excited about taking our businesses international. So yeah, you want to check out Lisa's Lyrics. And for our consumer members, she's giving 15% off. We have Woo. Yes, this amazing entrepreneur is doing phenomenal things for the community. That acronym is Women Helping Empower Winners. Are you a winner? If you feel you're a winner or desire to be one, you need to reach out to Miss LaShawn Michael and Woo. They're doing actually a free registration or consultation. So it doesn't even hurt, right? So don't take my word for it. Just reach out to Miss LaShawn Michael and get your free consultation. You know, collaboration is an amazing thing. Next, we have Phlebotomy Express Training Center. Now, here's the opportunity. Say you don't quite know what you want to do. You know what? Having multiple streams of income never hurt. And having additional skills never hurt. So why not take advantage and, learn phlebotomy? Now, if you haven't been around, were you old enough to remember 2020? Were you? I don't know. So we were hit with something, right? Healthcare is such a needed field always. So why not get 10% off, consumer members, and go ahead and get you another skill? That's Phlebotomy Express Training Centers. Next, we have my sisters and me hair braiding, 10 to 15% off. Now, if you remember a few weeks ago, the phenomenal hair products I've been sharing with you guys, now these edges are laid, but let me tell you, they're actually starting to fill in. That's phenomenal. I didn't even know that was an added benefit, but it could be the other products I've been using. So if you want to save on that phenomenal product line, yeah, you need to be a consumer member, okay? Because she's giving 10 to 15% off. Now, true to you, candles. That's all I'm going to say. Do you love candles? Why not get a free gift? See, all of this stuff for these consumer members, I'm telling you, what you waiting on? We have Tea's Timeless Beauty giving 10% off. Yeah, see, y'all be wondering about that Fountain of Youth. I'm telling you, it's in taking care of one's skin. I love, love, love my spa, and I use it at least 3 times a week to keep my face baby soft. So, yeah, I didn't get 10% off because I don't. I think that's like the conflict of interest when it's your company, right? So I just go ahead and patronize full price. But for you guys, you can get 10% off these phenomenal products. So who keeps me smiling? Today, Smile does. I have a phenomenal dentist, and it's time that she comes back on. She needs to come back on so that you too can see how wonderful she is and what she loves to do. And that is Miss Today Smile. And last but not least, we have Affordable Veterinary Clinic. If you have a furry friend, a loved one, a parakeet, or whatever, an animal, then you need to be taking them to Miss Melanie Dukes at Affordable Veterinary Clinic. Take them to a vet who loves what they do and who has always wanted to do it ever since they were little. That's just a little bit about Miss Melanie Dukes of Affordable Veterinary Clinic. Now, we have room for you in your business. So if you are a business owner and if you want to be part of our international Black-owned business directory, visit www.dealswithbob.com. And if you're not a consumer member, you're missing out on all these deals. You too go to www.dealswithbob.com, click on consumer member, and sign up today. Now, without further ado, I did that pretty good in under 10 minutes. Hopefully it didn't sound too rushed. But without further ado, we're going to bring in our guest this evening. And I am not going to really go into the whole, I will show you guys bio. Y'all know me. I like having conversations with people. So welcome.
Hey.
How are you?
Real good. Good to see you.
You as well. This is Mr. Terrence Quinn of TGQ Law Firm. How are you doing this evening?
I'm great. It's been a busy day, but a good day. Just out here working and taking care of business,
Yes. And what do we say? Every day is a good day, right?
That's right.
If you're able to wake up and be on this side, it is a good day.
That's
That's
right.
what I always say. Well, I'm excited to have you back. And for those people who did not get a chance to see you earlier this year, why don't you just do a self-introduction and let everybody know who you are?
Sure. No problem. My name's Terrence Quinn. You said I'm the owner of the TGQ Law Firm, which is a law firm here in Michigan that does estate planning, probate work, as well as elder law. So that meaning we really help people deal with 2 major questions: what happens after you're gone, to the stuff that you own. I know stuff that people don't like to talk about a whole lot, but we need to. What happens to everything if you're gone, or to your children, no matter how much or how little in assets you have, what's going to happen if you're not here? Then number 2, if you can't make decisions for yourself, who would make decisions for you and what would they decide? So everything about my work deals with helping people around those 2 questions, either helping them put plans in place that allow them to answer those questions, or helping them deal with those questions when they haven't put plans in place and an issue has arisen. Anyway, with that, married to the beautiful Adrienne Quinn, and we have 2 children, Titus and Jada, who are very busy. They're middle school and high school, and keeping us pretty busy, keeping us on our toes. That's you.
Yes. And I'm going to co-sign for y'all the beautiful Adrienne Quinn. Yes, she is extremely beautiful. But here's the thing, the beauty radiates from within. Her inner beauty outshines, even though she's a phenomenal, I mean, like supermodel, beautiful, bad sister, okay? But it's that radiant inner beauty that just takes her to another level. And I just absolutely love you guys and your commitment to the work that not only you do through your business, your law firm, but just all of the other things that you guys do together and being phenomenal parents. So, yes,
Yeah,
love
well,
you.
you
So,
know.
so the Cosbys do exist, huh?
Yeah, well, we're just trying to enjoy life and help others do the same thing, But listen, I want to say thank you for what you're doing. I of course pay attention to everything you have going on, and the platform that you're
Oh,
building and have built for Black-owned businesses is just dynamic and phenomenal. So hats off to you. Round of applause for you, standing
thank you.
ovation, all of that.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. It's interesting because I heard this week, and I wanted to share this with people. I heard it this week. Someone asked me, "What do you do?" And I was telling them, and they said, "Oh, you love what you do."
Yeah.
I said, "Why do you say that?" They said, "Your eyes and your face just lit up like," and I said, "Really?" I said, "I do love what I do."
Yeah. You do.
And
And you're great at it.
thank you. But it made me think about, if you don't love what you're doing, if you don't light up when you talk about what you do, you may just want to reevaluate, because there's nothing more fulfilling than walking in your purpose.
Yeah.
And what I found out is most people who are doing that, the work that they're doing tends to be greater than themselves. The reward of what they really get out transcends themselves. And I'm just excited we have a guest on this night today who loves what he does, like really loves what he does. And you were thinking like, okay, really, this is not oh my God, the law shows went out, How to Get Away with Murder. What other law shows are the Firm?
Yeah.
Even what's that cop show that's been on for forever?
New York
SVU,
Undercover. New York Undercover.
Judy, all, yeah, Law and Order, all of
Law and
those.
Order. Yeah, Law and Order. Yep.
Okay, so your law firm and what you do is not that. See, that's all the thing where it's like, in the courtrooms and getting you off of murder and all this crazy
Right.
stuff that people get excited about when they think about law.
Yeah.
But you do, to me, work that is just as important, if not more, because here's the thing. So many people have their future where it's been locked up, or it's going to just, die a death sentence. It's not doing anything because we're so unaware of the particular area of law that you practice. Yeah. So I'm truly excited about that, you being here to enlighten people, and y'all get just as excited as y'all would with them Law and Order shows, because you really need to be rejoicing knowing that your family is going to be provided and taken care of.
Yeah.
So let's get happy, because Terrence is about to set us free from going to what we gonna say, jail, for financial jail or something.
Yeah. And it's funny that you rolled into that from talking about doing what you love, because truly the work that I do, I really enjoy it. And the part of my job that I really, really love is when I'm doing this. When I'm able to share accurate information with people that I know is going to help them be better, do better, reach for more, reach their goals. I'm right in the middle of my purpose when I'm doing that. And so this work has allowed me to do that. You talk about, is this being just as important as the law and order and the criminal court and all of that stuff? I would tell you it's even more important. Now, of course, people say I'm biased, but give me a shot here to make the case for it, since make this court. Give me a shot to make the case for it.
The doors of the court are open.
That's right. There you go. So in my opinion, I truly believe, It's not just me trying to, it's not just something I say for business. I truly believe that this work deals with two of the four most important questions that we all will deal with in one way or another in our lifetime. So, those two questions I started with, when you really think about the implications of these questions, it hits home when you really take time to listen, right? Whatever you own and your children, if you really didn't wake up tomorrow, I know that's heavy, but still, if you didn't, what would happen to it? And then number two, if you were alive tomorrow, but couldn't make decisions for yourself, so somebody else is having to care for you, make decisions for you and everything, what's going to happen then? When you really sit for a second and think about this question, I can only think of a couple of things that are more important than that. Everything else is secondary to those two questions, beyond the two things I think are more important. So I make the case all the time that this is more important than any other legal experience or legal consideration that you will ever have. Period.
Mm. Yes. And so often we don't want to ask those two questions.
Yeah.
And what we know to be, though, a true reality is that we don't know that we're going to wake up tomorrow.
Right.
And we don't know that something wouldn't happen to us where we couldn't make decisions for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of a 2020, that is far too real, right? So speaking of then on the other side of 2020, with the work that you do, have you found, I hate to say an increase, but yeah, you like more people seeking then the work you do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So in the middle of it, all throughout 2020, it was crazy. I mean, of course, it was crazy for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
but even in this field of law, it was crazy. And let me show you why. So all of us were touched by somebody that either had COVID or passed from COVID. One of my best friends, his picture is right over here next on the side of my desk. He passed last year in July from COVID. So in the middle of all of that, we've heard the stories of people in facilities and in hospitals. Nobody can come in the room with them. The doctors weren't even going in there without like a whole space suit on. And so people are finding themselves in those situations last year, and they would call us because they want to try to do a plan for dad who's in the hospital,
Oh,
and
wow.
we can't get in there to talk to him. So I'm working with hospitals and nurses, doctors and nurses, trying to see if they'll take an iPad in there so I can talk to the person via an iPad. And how do you sign the documents after that? And
Now,
so,
were these for more so of like power of attorneys at that point?
well, for everything. So in many cases, yes,
Oh,
powers of attorney, because they were moving to progressing to a place where they couldn't make decisions for themselves. So we got to try to get powers of attorney in place while they can. And how do you do that? And then if they're in a place where they're in a coma, that's off the table. So
right.
now we're going to court to get conservatorship or guardianship, and that's a big deal. And then how do you get in the courts? The courts were closed.
Right. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
So it was something. Many of them are still closed for in-person interaction. So I had a Zoom hearing today with a woman who's in a nursing home, and nowadays I can go to the nursing home and sit with her to join the court session. Last year I couldn't. So
Okay.
yes, people were seeing that, and coming out of that, COVID really reminded us of the reality of our fragility, I guess I
Right.
would say,
Mortality, all of those
mortality,
things.
right? And
Yes.
so
Yes.
now people are coming saying, "Hey, we got to get this done."
Mhm.
It's an easier conversation to have with people because they experienced crisis and the stuff that I've been talking about forever.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And that's so interesting that you say that. And then I'm gonna get back, I'm gonna put a pin in where I was going to go, but I had the same comment be made to me towards the end of 2020 that I was ahead of my time when it came to the importance of us collectively coming together, leveraging our buying power,
Yeah,
increasing the circulation of the dollars within the community. because they were like, you were saying this before all of the, really the Black lives, before this happened, before that happened, before,
Mm-hmm.
and it became this systemic racism terminology. You were doing it then. And I said, you know what? It wasn't me.
Right.
I tell people all the time, I prayed for my assignment. I wanted to know clearly what it was. And it just kind of eroded out of me, like, woo.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like came back to what I just love, and knowing that we are such a great people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just ready to see us be what we can be and live up to our true potential. And that comes with us recognizing that and working together. So I know I light up when I talk about it, but I light up because of what we are doing and what we can do. And that's what gives me joy. Now, going back to one question I had, because when you said you were trying to do those things at the last minute,
Mhm.
what came to me was power of attorney, but you said not just that. So, how, I guess I was under this notion that you could not like change documents like right at the last minute. Is that something you can do and they actually are in place? Or, it's not like a waiting period or something.
Right. Yeah. So everything turns on capacity. The purpose of all of these documents are for you to share with whoever needs to know your intentions regarding those two questions while you're still able to.
Okay.
So as long as you have capacity and are alive, you can always make changes to your documents,
Oh,
period. Yeah. So it's only once you lose capacity and don't understand what you're writing or what you're communicating, or the impact of what you're communicating, or of course, once you're gone, that you can no longer change them. So yeah,
oh,
yeah, and in fact, with my estate plan. So estate planning is the side of my work where I help people put a plan in place. The
okay.
probate is the side where there's a dispute over what they've put in place or they haven't put anything in place, and we got to get a court to now determine what should happen because you no longer can tell us, either because
Oh,
you're gone or incapacitated. And then elder law is dealing with all of that for people who are 65 years old and older. Now, having said that, on the estate planning side, I do encourage people, and all of my clients know we should meet every year to review your plan. So that
mhm.
if we need to make changes, we can. And then certainly if emergencies arise, I had an emergency this week with a client. Um,
Okay.
I've gotten called on Sundays
Oh, wow.
to do an emergency visit to a hospital because somebody is moving and moving in an ultimate way. And
Okay.
we can do something as long as they have capacity.
Okay. Okay. So I what came into my mind was a soap opera where the person is on their deathbed and they said you have to until I die to divorce him or you won't see a penny of my money or something like that. And then as they were on their deathbed, they were changing the documents.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I have, and I know it's tough to hear, but yes, I've done that. People are literally in that place, and
Oh
I've
wow.
been there, and we've had to make changes on the spot. So yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So then we did equate it then to some light entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, but hey, and when you mentioned that earlier, you talk about entertainment. I tell lawyers, up and coming lawyers, I get the honor of training attorneys now a lot, and I tell younger attorneys, newer attorneys, you think that criminal stuff or the big time, litigation in court is the exciting stuff, and you think that estate planning is boring. I'm dealing with people's lives. I'm the one person in everyone's life that really has to know everything about them. I have to know their assets. I have to know their health. I don't have to know their blood type, but I do need to know what's going on with them with their health. I
Right.
need to know the family secrets. Who's the brother who we know is going to show up to steal the money
Oh
later
wow.
on? Because I'm the person who gets called when the crisis hits, and I have to be the supportive force in the middle of all of that gracious force in the middle of all of that that makes sure, okay, that's the brother she told me about, so I need to watch him, right? So hey, and I can tell you the stories of people's lives and what's going on around them.
Oh my goodness.
It's better than any book you've read.
You live in the soap opera, Terrence.
Oh, every day, throughout the day, call after call after call throughout the day. Yeah, so it's exciting.
Oh my goodness. How interesting. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you, I've learned some things. I don't know everything, but I have attended some phenomenal workshops. When Terrence says he loves talking and educating people, he does. So he has had I don't even know how many, but a series of workshops that he hosts to talk you through estate planning. He gives his favorite scenarios of situations, and after I'm gonna tell my favorite one, and I'm gonna let Terrence share some of his. But he gives the scenarios to bring it down to your level to for you to really start thinking like, wait a minute, yes, I do need to have something in place. So what I will say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that when you talked about probate can also happen if you have a will in place, but it can't happen if you have a trust in place. Am I right?
So yes, you're right, from the idea, but attorneys never. If you notice, attorneys never use absolute terms like can't.
I
And never.
know.
I just said never though. We rarely
Okay.
use.
At a
Yeah,
high level, do I understand that
you
the
do. You're right
difference
on point.
between okay, okay,
So let me spin it this way. Let me spin it just a little different, but you're right in line.
okay.
So a will is actually only for probate court. Now, I didn't even realize that in law school. Well, after law school, I learned that a will's purpose is to tell the court in the open probate court case, here's who's in charge of my case. Used to be called executor, now it's called personal representative, and then who gets everything when I'm gone.
Okay.
So a will and probate court go hand in hand. If you don't want your family to be in probate court, that's when you probably want a trust.
Okay.
And at a fundamental basic level, that's the purpose of a trust and the difference between a trust and a will. The trust is designed typically to help you avoid probate court. It's not only for the rich people like Oprah and Bill Gates.
Yeah.
It's for us too, who are aspiring to have assets like that.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I'm gonna go back to this, but I do have a question that came in ahead of time, and I think maybe this might be the good place to ask.
Okay.
When it comes then to your life insurance policies, people wanted to know, since you have to actually choose the beneficiaries, those documents are not, well, are they contested? Do you have to do anything more with those to make sure they go to where you want them to go to?
Great question. No, just make sure it's clearly written who you want to have that asset. Let's take a life insurance policy, who you want to be a beneficiary of that life insurance policy. And make sure that you keep that updated, like check on it periodically, because it's not uncommon or unusual for that to be erased somehow. So you're going to make sure those beneficiaries are still set up. But even if you have a will and a trust that says specifically what should happen with that life insurance policy, if you have beneficiaries listed, that trumps the will and the trust. Okay. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure that's in place. Now, one other thing I got to say about that, I do think in most cases, it's a bad idea to rely solely on beneficiary designations. I think it's limited and incomplete in a lot of ways. A healthy plan will involve usage of beneficiary designations while also incorporating and including a will or trust-based plan. All of that together is what falls into the idea of estate planning.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it. So let's get away from one or the other. Let's bring them together and have a cohesive estate plan to cover yourself. And because here's the thing, the estate plan, and even some insurance policies, if something were to happen to you detrimental, you personally need to be cared for too. And so that's where all of these totalities of the plan come in place, because you may say, yeah, my daughter loves me, she gonna take care of me if something happened to me.
Yeah, yeah, right. That's right.
We don't
It
know that,
may
right?
not be able to happen like that. That's right. And we don't know if she will. That's right.
So I mean, it's good to just have things clearly spelled out, so all parties are in agreement. Everybody knows what's going on, and all of those good things.
Mhm.
Now, here's another question that came in. This one made me laugh. I had to make sure it was a serious question.
All right.
It's like, can writing your stuff, can writing your stuff down like on a napkin or piece of paper actually be a real document for what you want?
Absolutely. 100%. You can take out a napkin right now and you can write down last will and testament at the top. You can write down, I want my sister to be in charge of my probate case. I want my kids to go to my brother as guardian, and I want all of my stuff to go to Sonia.
Okay.
When you sign it at the bottom, 100% that'll work as a will. Now, I got to qualify and fix it, right?
Right. Because
So
I
that's
was
the law.
like, no.
Right, right. That's what's called a holographic will.
Okay.
And the components that I mentioned all must be in that will in order for it to stand. Everything I mentioned, last will and testament, here's what I want. It's in your handwriting and you sign it and date it. If all that's in there, then that can stand. Here's why I think that's a bad idea, except in a terrible idea, except in very limited situations. Like maybe if you're dying right now, I hate to just talk like this, but like if
It's
in the next
reality.
20 minutes I'm out of here, and then yes, go ahead and do that so we know what you wanted. Now it's best if you can get some people to watch you do it so they can sign as witnesses. That's
Okay.
probably fairly bulletproof at that point. The problem with it is, one, will you remember each of the components that I just talked about and make sure they're in there?
Right.
Two, I probably could shake things up if your daughter decided she wanted to challenge that and she hired me if I would take the case. I don't take just any case. I probably could contest that will and be fairly successful in taking that down the road a long way, even with all those components. And I'll tell you, the Aretha Franklin case, that's what she did. They found 3 different documents that were in her handwriting. And
Wow.
that's a big part of why her case, what is it, 5 years later now, 4 or 5 years, is
Yeah.
still ongoing in court in their disputes because it was a handwritten will. It wasn't created by an attorney who
Wow.
specializes in this area. In addition
Okay.
to that, she scribbled some things out and wrote some things in. Terrible idea to do that. I'm not beating up on the queen. I'm just saying, for those listening, don't do that.
Right.
And it's tremendous controversy. So the ideal situation, while that does work to write it yourself, the ideal situation by far is to have an attorney help you put it in place, covering all bases and
Mm-hmm.
done in the right kind of way. So that if anybody even considers challenging it, they get ran out of court. Last thing, real quick, and I quit talking so much.
You're fine.
There's a case actually that I usually don't talk about cases, but this is kind of interesting. It's kind of sad, but let's kind of try not to get hung up on the sad part. There's a case that came out 2 or 3 years ago
Mhm.
where a guy, and the sad part is he committed suicide,
Oh,
but he left a note that said all of my wishes regarding my stuff and who should get it are on my cell phone. And it turned out that the court decided that the typed note on his cell phone did serve as a will because he left a note saying, what's on my phone is what I want you all to follow. That's really tricky. That went up
hmm.
through the courts for them to finalize that decision. But that just is a broad answer to your question.
Wow. Well, I guess because, you know, especially in our community, it's kind of like things we didn't have all the legal opportunities, I guess I would say. And so, I think in that some of these things are carried over from history and ancestors and that kind of stuff, where things were just written out and all this stuff. And
Mhm.
people are not aware of the work that you do. I mean, so much so that they may just go and get a regular attorney,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's right. And that's a bad idea. So we talked about not writing it yourself. It can work, but I do not recommend it. I don't recommend for sure that you pull it down from Google or go to Office Depot or anything like that. Bad idea. LegalZoom, I'll even say I'm not a fan of that for purposes of wills and estate planning. Other things maybe. But I also do not think, to answer your question directly, that you should even use an attorney if they are not truly a specialist in this area. This practice area is one that attorneys who don't do it seriously, they think it's easy and they think it's simple and it's just getting a document and putting a name on it, getting a
Right.
template document and filling in the blanks. I thought that, which is part of why I went into it. I thought I could just get into it and just run like crazy, get it done. And in Michigan, our Institute for Continuing Legal Education, called ICLE, they offer a 3-year course where they teach you this law and everything. And I learned pretty quickly in that course that the learning curve is super steep.
Mm.
So do not touch this. Don't move on it. Don't do anything without a true estate planning expert.
Wow. I definitely believe Terrence when he says that. You definitely want something to be done by a professional just in this area of law, who definitely understands this area of law, especially if you're the type of person who really wants something to be done a particular way. Or if you don't quite know what you want to do, right? Because Terrence can definitely, he's not going to be the one who says you should do X, Y, and Z. He's going to be more so the person who wants to listen to what he's hearing, what he hears you say you want, and make sure that is indeed what you want, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so here's story time. Okay, so one of my favorite, well, I think I have two, but one that I like the most is because we always look at how we go save money and get hooked, do our hookup and all this kind of stuff. So,
Mhm.
okay, how many of y'all parents out there that, I mean, you might be fortunate to have multiple properties, and one of your children decides to go away to college and they're living in a state where you happen to have a property that maybe you normally rent out or something, but rather than do that, you're going to let your child stay in the home and you're going to actually add them to the deed to the home. I think I'm saying it right.
Mhm. Mhm.
And because you want to save money on that tax that you pay for that child going to school in that different state. So now they're a resident of that state, have ownership in that state. You saving money, they getting a degree and all that good stuff,
Mhm.
right?
That's right.
You winning, right? You winning until
Until until.
until the child decides that they want to have, some people at the house you don't tend to like, having parties, doing their thing like kids will do, young people will do, right? And you'll be like, okay, you're going to have to stop doing that in my house. What do you think now happens? Okay.
Yep.
So long to the short, it's not your house no more. It's y'all's house.
Y'all's
It's
house. That's right.
y'all's house.
Yeah, all y'all.
It's all y'all's house. So
That's
if she
right.
wants to move somebody in and do whatever, it's her house or your child's house. You're
Mhm.
right.
That's right.
So Terrence, share, that's one of my favorite ones. So
Talking about
share
Charlie.
now the whole.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Charlie. You talking about Charlie. That's what he did. His daughter was going to school. They did exactly what you were saying, and everything was great. She got in-state tuition down in Florida, and of course Charlie is a made-up name, though this is a real scenario. Her and boyfriend started doing crazy stuff on Charlie's property. Charlie said, "Stop." She said, "No." He said, "You can't do that on my property." She said, "This is our property." He said, "I'm taking you off of my property." She said, "Not so fast." I'm the only one who can take my name off of my property. And she is
Mhm.
right. That joint ownership is the purpose of that, right? People
Right.
often add their child or their friend or their mom or whatever on their bank account as a joint owner on property, so that assets can transfer. It makes total sense to me. Let me start with that. It makes complete sense to me why
Mhm.
people do it.
Mhm.
Until they talk to me, it doesn't make sense anymore. Because we're doing it because we want to make sure that Johnny can get money while he's in college. So he just pulls it out the account. I put it in the account, he pulls it out. Or
Right.
we want to make sure that Teresa can take care of me and handle checks and bills and stuff for me.
Mhm.
Makes complete sense. We want them to get it without court. Joint ownership with rights of survivorship, people that tell me. That's
Right.
right. It's true. But when you do that, they can keep that asset. They can take it. It's theirs now. They can take all the money out the account. And the
Mhm.
creditors, because the good child doesn't do that, but the good child might have a judgment against her.
Right.
Well, the creditor can take the money. There's tax implications, probably. Medicaid implications, probably. So it's
Mhm.
a bad idea, and there's a much better, and I'd even say simpler way
Hmm.
to have the same benefit without the same burden. So yeah, that joint ownership thing, I usually end that section of the presentation
Oh,
by
is that
saying, yeah, never, ever, ever add anybody to any asset of yours as a joint owner other than a spouse, maybe,
hmm,
right?
maybe.
Yeah, you gotta put that maybe. You gotta think about
Maybe.
the spouse, right? Now listen, Simon, you know Adrienne, you talked about her in the beginning. She's on all of my assets. She's on all of them, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm not on all hers. I'm
I'm
not on
talking
all
about
hers.
hers.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not on all hers, but that's all right. But
Right.
and let me say this, because lawyers got to do a disclaimer. That was not legal advice to people. That's general information in your
Yes, this is
situation.
general information.
In
We're
your
having a
situation.
conversation, y'all.
That's right. That's all it is. So don't taking your wife off your account, telling her I told you to do it, because I don't want her to come to look for me.
No, she gonna come
Taking
get
your,
you.
yeah, yeah. Okay, Simon.
No,
Don't
I
take
was
your
speaking
husband
on
off your account.
Adrian's behalf because yes, we still have our solo ownership now, ladies. Come
That's
on.
right. That's what we need a topic about. That's what we need to talk about. Leaving us out and having your own solo account. I'm just playing. I'm not trying to be in trouble.
No, we got a joint one too. So what about and let me just say, I see people joining on Instagram. Hi guys. Yes, we're on YouTube. So just come on over. Just come on over. We're having a great conversation. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for joining. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section. I definitely will bring them up to Terrence. So here's I was gonna say about the other question, but before I go there, now adding your kids to yours. So what if you open up like one of for your child and then you're on it? And you then that's probably safer if you're just trying to, make sure they can get to some money, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I
I
think
do it that way. I don't do it
yeah,
the other
yeah,
way.
yeah. That I think that's good in most cases, because you're only putting money in there that you really intend to be theirs, not money that you intend to rely on, or that if
Correct.
one of their creditors took it, you'd be mad.
Correct.
So you're good. Now, having said that, if you get caught up, then your issues could potentially take that money that you've set aside from them. So it's still a
Mhm.
little risky to
Still
do it
some
even
risk.
that way. Yeah, but yeah, I think I can see where I could recommend to a client of mine that that's fine and that's a good idea. And many of my clients are in this. Client I met with today, they have that same scenario. So yeah, it's fine. I think it's fine in most cases.
Okay. Now hey, so my sister, hopefully you can come over to YouTube if you're still on. She joined on Instagram, but her platform makes me think about the next situation, which happens like it's so common. Blended families.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just so common. And the story that you shared with that is and I'm gonna say it real quickly, but it was a blended family and they absolutely didn't want to leave anything to the children, oh the children's, but
Yeah.
to the grandchildren's. And it was more so the wife, but then long to the short, what was interesting to me is order of death. That's what I took away. Kind of, if you don't have anything in place, order of death matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's huge when it's a blended family.
That's right.
It can get to the point where you as the, let's say the wife's side and her kids and the husband side and his kids, that if one dies before the other, those kids of that remaining parent, am I saying it right, of the deceased parent, I'm sorry, those kids may not get anything because of order of death. So
that's right.
If you are in a blended family situation, Terrence is going to let you kind of know the importance of making sure you're covered and why.
Yeah, that's one group of people. You're right on track. That's one group of people that really has to plan immediately. Even in situations where the blended family is completely blended, meaning they love each other, everybody's on the same page. They all, it's like, the Brady Bunch or some of those other shows that do that. You have to plan. And the reason that those situations are designed for there to be conflict. So as Sonia just talked about it, envision a situation where mom and dad build a house together. They have kids and their kids grow up in that house. And that was the house they were born in. And then at some point, let's say mom passes and dad later remarries and moves the new wife into that same house. Well, the kids are grown and gone. But dad and the stepmom now live in the house. And let's say the stepmom had her own children before she married your dad. And in that scenario, let's say now your dad passes. And guess who keeps the house? The stepmom does. And then, first of all, dad's kids are looking at stepmom, even if they love each other, like, that was my mama's house. And then when the stepmom passes, that house goes to the stepmom's children. And so how are the original children looking at watching their mom and dad's house now go to the children of the stepmom? Maybe they're fine with it. And in some cases they are. But you can see where that can pretty easily create a scenario where there's some people are feeling some kind of way about what just happened. And there are all kind of variations of that. But the point is, a plan should be put together that makes sure that those assets go where both of the owners want it to go, and protects all people involved from unnecessary drama. It's designed for drama. Blended family is, and I hate to say it that way because it makes it sound like blended family is a bad thing. It's not at all. But it just means that you have to plan correctly so that things can be taken care of correctly.
Yes. I just received a comment. They said we ran to Terrence to get our affairs in order when we understood the order of death dynamic.
Yeah, that's right. It's serious. It's serious. It's serious business. They are the blended family identity, or the blended family itself is one of the groups of people, one of two or three groups that you have to plan. You can't delay. You got to get it done.
Yes. I don't know if I want to put the business out in the streets like this or not, but there's some like jewels and different things that my mom always say, I want you to have, so I gotta go get a safe to make sure you get them. And I'm like, I said, but Mom, here's the thing. If that safe is inside your house, that still don't mean I have access to get them.
That's right.
Now, am I right?
You're exactly right. What she would do, what I would encourage her to do if she were my client and she told me that, there's a form. I wish I had my sample near me. There's a form that I give to all my clients that they can fill out listing those kinds of things, jewelry and furniture and vehicles and whatever, and who they want those things to go to. And then that way, whenever the person is gone, those things will go where they're supposed to go. So yeah, you have to write that down in the right kind of way.
Okay. Yeah. So then I have to tell Mom when we fly out tomorrow morning and we do our little conversations while we're gone, we like, okay, so we got to make some appointments then and get these affairs in order, because I don't like trouble.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm the conflicty type of person. I don't want to be in courts, and I don't want to start hating folks. It's
Yeah.
so I'm really so non-conflict type personality that I don't think, if that's what you wanted, you better write it down, because I'm just gonna
Yeah.
be like, here, take it. It ain't that serious.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. And I'll tell you, when it's interesting, because even in the best of families, where everybody is just great, right? Everybody's the nicest person among all the people that they know. When the matriarch or the patriarch goes, or that special loved one goes,
Mm,
people respond to that trauma that happened
mhm.
in different ways. And so sometimes the nicest families will split. And this is sad. This is sad. They'll
Yeah.
split because people are just responding differently. Sometimes the quiet, nice person becomes a lion because
Mm,
that's how they're responding. And so the more people have in place that identify that resolves issues so that they don't become issues,
mhm.
the better things happen, and the more easily people can navigate that hard time when they wrong
Right,
somebody.
right. So, Terrence, here's one thing that happens too, is people take time, get everything in order, but then never share anything with anybody, so nobody knows where anything is at.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, because though they've gotten in order with you, are they okay when people don't know this? Because you have a copy and you have it, right?
yeah. That's another one of those words that lawyers don't really like to rest on. Okay, okay is relative. Doesn't that sound like a lawyer response? Okay is relative. So so yes, once they do the plan and it's signed, it's the plan, and things are supposed to happen as written. But you're right. When people don't know that there's a plan, problems can arise. So
Mhm.
to help resolve that issue, a couple of things that I do and some other attorneys do. Number one, there's a form in every binder that my client gets.
Okay.
And it's a form called a letter of instruction. And that's where you can write down answers to questions that people will have at that time. Do you have
Okay.
funeral and burial arrangements? Where do everybody has a drawer, cabinet, or mattress or something where they keep their documents? Which mattress is it that where they should look? And in line with what you're talking about, where do you keep this binder that has these estate planning documents in it?
Mhm.
And do you have a list of usernames and passwords? Nowadays
Right.
you access
Right.
accounts, so all of that's there, and then you can give that document to a person that you trust so that they'll know. The other thing that I do is I encourage clients to have a family meeting that I'll join. And in that meeting, the purpose of it is for me to go over with them, with the family, the plan, at least as much of it as my client wants me to.
Okay.
That way, I can also explain to them, don't let anybody talk you into getting guardianship if something happens to your mom, because you have this document in place that's designed to help you avoid guardianship. But
Mm.
the other thing that meeting does that's extremely helpful, it heads off the bad actor,
Okay.
the one who wants to say, "No, Daddy said that was supposed to be mine, and oh, we should do it this way." Well, Daddy didn't say that, because you were in the meeting where you heard
Right.
me explain it, and I looked at your father and I asked him, "Was that correct?" And he said, "Yes." So the
Okay.
siblings now look at that brother and say, "Come on, man, you tripping? You know that's not what Daddy said. You were here when we were here." And so
Right.
it works out. So yeah, you're right on point. So yes, everything will happen, should happen correctly. Things are good. Are they okay? Yeah, kinda. But
Kind.
they should make sure somebody knows that there's a plan in place. Mhm.
Well, someone made a comment. They said, people lose their fool mind for a dime.
That's right. That's right. And they call me, and then they call me and say that today somebody called and said, "Hey, listen, no, she didn't, and they took the money, and we should get it. And what do we do?" Right? Day to day to day, people call me with those questions,
I'm
and
telling you,
yeah,
y'all, get into estate planning law. Okay, what's the true? It's not, you're not an estate planning attorney. What are you? I mean, what's the
yeah,
title?
yeah. At my core, I'm an estate planning attorney. Right.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, so don't sleep on that area of the law because it can be very highly entertaining.
Yeah, oh yeah, it is. It is every day.
Oh, well, Terrence, I would say we had a phenomenal conversation. We're like 5 minutes out. So, of course, I want people to know how to connect with you. I also want you guys to know this. We have Terrence on at the end and the beginning of the year. One, because this is holiday season. I was already out and I'm hearing holiday songs. Okay. They trying to get y'all in the mood to spend y'all money
Yeah.
for stuff that's unnecessary. I'm telling you. When 2020 came around, y'all couldn't go and have no big old Christmas gatherings. I'm sure if some of y'all didn't even spend any money, y'all probably started off the new year with more money you ever had in your life. So keep those good habits up. Get your things in order. Terrence is very reasonable. I mean, he's an attorney. He will work with you on an individual basis. I ain't quote nobody's prices, but see, because he said in the beginning, this is what he's purposed for and what he's passionate about. He's not gonna be like, oh, bleed you. Now, if you out of his ballpark, he know other people now, so he may can connect you to. Because ultimately, what he's gonna be concerned with is that you have what you need in place. But I'm gonna tell you, you want somebody who loves what they do. You want somebody who knows what they do. You want somebody who has great reviews from what they do. Then you want to reach out to Terrence. And so, first of all, of course, he's on our Black-owned business directory, so you can find him there. But we're going to also let him give an opportunity to tell you how you can connect with him.
Absolutely. So I'm all over social media. Just look for TGQ Law. I'm probably there. My initials, TGQ Law. You can go to website. Guess what that is? Same thing, tgqlaw.com. Ton of information there. You can find us on Facebook, TGQ Law, Facebook page there. And then, if you want to give us a call, the number is pretty simple. It's 734-707-3232. Again, 734-707-3232. On our Facebook page, you can schedule appointments with us. It comes right to me and right to my calendar. And that's that.
Awesome. And like I did, I think on one of the posts I put, getting your affairs in order is the best holiday gift you can give this season. It really is. Just peace of mind and knowing everything, like even having, get with Terrence quickly. Maybe you guys can have like that Halloween gathering part. I mean, the holiday gathering party where you tell everybody, what's in place and how they can find it. I mean, it's really the best gift you can give this holiday and to kick off the year with everything in place, So I just want to thank you, Terrence. Now, here's the quick question as we finish. What book is on your nightstand or that you have recently read or highly recommend reading?
Yeah, so I'm digging into this book I've been told about for a long time, and I finally got to it. And it's called Urban Apologetics, and it's a book all about Christianity, but also how people in particular in the Black community are spinning off into other religions and why. What are they finding in Christianity that they don't like, and what are they finding in other religions that they do like, and how to have conversations to walk down a path that can be beneficial. So it's a great book. It's written by Eric Mason, and it's deep. It's deep. I love it.
It sounds like it. Okay, awesome.
Mhm.
And side note now, because we had a couple of Zoom clips of you solo, and I see an M behind you.
Oh yes.
So
move this way. There it is. Yeah.
now I know that we had an interesting weekend, so we will go into that. But I'm just going to say, all of those people out there, if you're either color, either way, make sure you still tune in and make sure you still share. So we're not going to I'm putting that disclaimer out there. But I want to thank you, though, for allowing us the opportunity again to have a conversation with you and have you on this evening. Thank you so much for your time. I want to thank everybody who actually joined in, all of those who came on Instagram and jumped over to YouTube. Thank you for joining. I am Sonia Weaver. As always, I encourage you to spend with purpose because your dollar matters, and deal with Bob. Have an amazing evening, everybody. I will see you next week.